Hi there, welcome back to another Patreon tutorial. My name is Heuvel. Today we're going to be talking about While My Guitar Gently Weeps, and this is a classic song, Beatles tune. I also have always loved the version by Jeff Healey, Canadian blues guitar legend, and such a great version, so many really cool solos happening in those versions, but and I don't really know if I was ever really influenced by an acoustic version, so it's really fun to put together my own acoustic version for the song and try to come up with some really interesting guitar parts. It's also a very difficult song to do a solo for over top of the chord progression, just the way that the chords move. Very difficult to go from the chord that you're playing back to the notes that you're going to be phrasing with. So it was a fun challenge to make that work as best as I could. So let's get into it. To start off the progression, we start off with an A minor chord. A minor is built like this: 0 on the A string, 2 on the D, 2 on the G, 1 on the B, and open E. You can see the fingering there: middle finger on the D, ring finger on the G, index finger on the B string. So yeah, for a lot of this song, I'm gonna try to assume that you know a lot of these open chords, these basic chords, but I will briefly talk about them a little bit, just in case you're not. So we have that first A minor chord, and then we're going to do an arpeggio: A, D, and then G, all downstrokes, A, D, G, E with an upstroke. And then we're going to go E, B, G with upstrokes, but in between we're going to put a downstroke on the A string in between, so it'll be like... That's kind of the idea. We're going to do this on each of the chords, using the root note as we come backwards on the upstrokes to do the offbeat. And so the next chord we have is this. We would take the ring finger off the A minor chord. We're going to put it on the low E string at the 3rd fret. And then we're going to go, so that chord is like, I think it's called C/G. So this part of the chord is a C chord, but we have a G on the bass, so that's why it's /G. And so then when we do this one, it's the same kind of picking, but we're going to go E, D, G to start. Then the high E string, and then we're going to use the low E string, like I said, to balance out the descending. Like that. And then the next chord, we keep the index finger where it is, middle finger goes to the low E string, 2nd fret on the F sharp, ring finger goes to the G string, 2nd fret for the A, D string is open, A string is muted, and we're going to pick the same strings that we did the previous chord. So it's the E, then the D, and the G, high E, low E, B, low E, G. So this chord is like, this is D7, and then that's F sharp. So this is D7/F sharp would be how I would write that chord out. And then I'm going to go to F, and I play the F with my thumb on the bass note. You don't have to do that. You can play it just as a traditional bar chord, but I use my thumb on the low E string 1st fret, ring finger D string 3rd fret, middle finger G string 2nd fret, index finger B string 1st fret. And I play the low E string with the pick, then D, then G, then B, and then I strum the remainder of the chord, or the shape of the chord, and slide that up to G, so up 2 frets like that. So we have and then we're going to do the same thing again to start. A minor, just like we did before, and then I'm going to go to G, more like a traditional G chord. I fret it with my ring finger on the low E string, pinky finger on the high E string, 3rd fret, both fingers on the 3rd fret. I'm going to use the index finger to pull off the B string 1st fret, and then so index finger pulls off the B string, middle finger pulls off the G string at the 2nd fret. Something like that. The picking is similar to what we did before. E, D, G, maybe the high E or the B. Doesn't really matter. Then we're going to go to D, traditional D chord. I'm going to do a little little thing like that on the pinky with the 3rd fret, high E string, and then to E major, and I use the pinky here to do a similar thing that we did to the D chord, just pulling off, just kind of doing a suspended 4th. So that little action there on the D chord is the sus4, resolving to D. E major, the same thing, put the pinky down on the 2nd fret on the G string, it becomes sus4. E sus4, resolving to E. And so I do a pull off, so I do arpeggiate the first part of the E chord. So that's like E, like low E, D, G, B, and then I do the pull off with the pinky. And then D and then A after that, I think. And then that takes us back to the A minor. And then we're back. And this is where we're going to get into the very first lead of the song. So now I'm going to get a little looser with the strumming when we get to the main part. So it's just starting out the arpeggio on the A minor into a strum, and then I'm going to focus on sliding over to my A minor position at the 5th fret. That's a good little lick to work on. So we're kind of doing to the bass note, downstroke, upstroke on the A minor chord, slide your ring finger up to the 7th fret D string. And then you're in like a pentatonic, a minor pentatonic scale position. So then we're going to the 7th fret D string to the 5th fret G string with the index finger. Then we slide the ring finger up to the G string 9th fret. Middle finger comes down on the B string 8th fret. And then I slide back from 9 to 7 on the G string. And then I do something like this where I'm going to be on the G chord next, G major. So I use my thumb to play the root note, middle finger to play the G string 4th, first finger bars the B and E strings at the 3rd fret. And then I do the same thing that we did before. On the G, we're just doing the sus4. So the ring finger comes down to the 5th fret on the G string, resolving to the D string, or the root note of the chord, and I slide it down to the 4th fret to set up the F sharp chord. And this is the way that I play it. I use my thumb to play the low E string 2nd fret, ring finger plays the D string 4th fret, index finger G string 2nd fret, B string, middle finger, 3rd fret, high E string open. I use this chord a couple times in the solo sections of the song. Just an arpeggio, so skipping the A string. Then I set up the F, similar to how I did before, with the thumb on the low E string 1st fret. Then your first 3 fingers play the grouping on the F major there. And then I hammer the middle finger down to the G string, 2nd fret. And then I open it up again. Play the D string. And then a little trill here on the D string at the 2nd and 3rd fret, resolving to the A string. It's like 2, 3, 2 on the D string, 3 on the A string, to back to the A. Right, I think that's pretty much it. So then I go back to A minor, and I'll probably just do something like that where I use the pinky on the high E string, 3rd fret, 3, 0. Could do the same thing on the B string as well. Could open up the B string with the index finger. G string could open up as well. So there's lots of things that you can do there just on an open A minor chord to make it sound like a lead. So those are little things that I think about and practice all the time, so that, you know, it's difficult to do what I'm trying to do here with the chord changes and playing what sounds like lead parts while still staying true to the chord progression. So it's nice to have like these somewhat easy parts to play when we go to an A minor chord or a G chord or D chord or whatever, to make it sound like a lead, where we can do a little trill with the pinky finger or one of the fingers that's already on the chord and just pick it up and put it back down, or find a way to do an interesting little hammer on or sliding into it. Or there's lots of nice little melody things that you can do. So if you just play around with all these open chords, which the song utilizes lots of open chords, we can do that. We can those are nice, for me, easy ways of approaching those lead parts. So that's what I might do in that little section there, where I come back to the A minor. And then I go to this G and do a very Hendrix-like kind of thing again, where I'm going to use the hammer on with the ring finger. I'm in the major chord position. Played this chord earlier. So all of that sounds nice, right? So we've got that sus4 thing. And we can slide up to the 6th, it's the 7th fret on the A string, but that's 6th interval, resolving to the root. Then we're into the D, that's the next chord after G. So then I land on the root note of the D chord, play the harmony of the chord there, like that, at the 7th fret, just barring that with the ring finger. And then I'll slide up, same thing, where I play the chord, and I slide up to the kind of the next position. So it's using like the A shape in the caged system. This is the A shape, and this is the G shape of the chord. This is a very classic Hendrix maneuver. And then sliding back from the 7th or the 9th fret A string, I might do a trill. Doing a double stop there in the D and G string. I sometimes forget to go through these details. So a double stop there, D and G string with the first finger. Little trill there on the D string, the ring finger. Kind of going to the A string, 7th or 9th fret. And sliding 9 to 7. And then I find myself back into an E7 or E dominant chord. And I grip this chord like a C chord shape, traditional C chord. Slide it all the way up to the 7th, 6th, and 5th frets. Use the pinky to play the G string at the 7th fret. So that's a very complicated part, for sure, all the way through that. Starting with the A minor. Do a lead to the G. Sus chord, sliding down to the F sharp. Arpeggiate the F sharp over D chord, and then the F. Hammer, that trill, quick little lead on the open A minor chord, back to this Hendrix grip G chord, oops, into the D major chord, again, kind of Hendrix maneuver, sliding to E7, and then we're good to go. Then we're ready for the intro. Or sorry, we're ready for the verse. So now we're going to do very similar to what we did in the intro of the song, but more of a strumming pattern and very slow groove, right? We have the bass notes, boom, boom, down, 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 up, down, up, down, down. You don't have to slide up to the G. That honestly just comes from the Jeff Healey version. Jeff Healey plays it where he slides up to the G. I don't think that happens in the George Harrison or the Beatles version of it. So that's my favorite version of the song, so I love that little maneuver. So you don't have to do that. You can just stay on the F. That's probably what most versions would do, would just stay on the F chord, but I like that transition back from F to G, it's back to A minor. So this happens in the verse as well, this pattern where we do the A minor, then the C over G, the D7 over F sharp, then the F, G, A minor, then it goes to G major, not the C over G, but just full G major, D major, E major. So that's the first cycle. The next cycle does everything the same. A minor, C over G, D over F sharp, F, G, A minor, G, and this is where it changes. We go to C major, E. So that always trips me up actually when I'm performing the song, to remember to do that. There's times where I just like, oh man, I forgot to go into the chorus section or the B section of the song. You lead it in with the C chord. So that can be difficult just because it's the only difference in the between the two parts. So regular C chord to E, and then we're gonna go to A major now. I don't know why. So A major, C sharp minor. So this is a bar chord, minor bar chord with the root on the A string up at the 4th fret. So it's like A4, D6, G6, B5, E4. To F sharp minor, which is like 2, 4, 4, 2, 2, 2, using the first finger to bar all the way across. So A major, C sharp minor, F sharp minor, C sharp minor, and then I'll walk down like that. I might do it quickly or slowly like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, or you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. So now we're in B minor. We're just taking that same C sharp minor chord, moving it chromatically down to B minor. And then E major again after that. So we have half bar of A, half bar of C sharp minor, half bar of F sharp minor, half bar C sharp minor, full bar on B minor, and then a full bar on E. And then this is where I do like a little lick here over the E. So what I'm doing, I'm sliding from the B to the C sharp on the A string, the ring finger. Then I'm barring the D and G string at the 2nd fret, the index finger, right? And then I'm hammering the ring finger down to the D string, the 4th fret. You can still hear the G string ringing at the 2nd fret when the ring finger comes down on the D string 4. And then I go back to just the 1st finger bar, C sharp on the A string 4th fret, and then a slide 2, 3, 2 on the A string, which resolves to the open A. You could do a bend as well. Sounds good? Or I don't know how, no one controls you, and so you. So just back to the verse again after that, basically, right? So on the E, as you transition from the E back to the A minor, you could do E and then E7, lift your ring finger off the E chord, open up the D string, and you're back to the... It's quite a beautiful part. We're in A minor, doing this descending A minor thing, and then the B section goes to A major and has this beautiful melodic thing in A major, and then we go back to A minor. So really, really cool modulation there of the key that we're in. It's really awesome, just compositionally, really smart. And so that's pretty much it. That takes care of the majority of those sections, those A and B sections of the song, whether you call that verse and chorus. So the rest of it is just the guitar solos that I I kind of had to arrange for this chord progression. So the main solo of the song is broken up, I think, into 3 sections. And the first section is very, very similar to the first solo that we did in the intro. I think I do something very similar to that, just a different, slightly different variation. Then I think on the G, very similar again. I just slide up from the 5th fret to the 7th fret before sliding down to the 4th. All of this is the same as the intro. And then this is a little different. We go to the D. As we switch from the D chord, very similar kind of thing that we do in the D chord as the intro. But to get out of that, I'm going to go to the E chord. I'm going to land on the B string at 8, the G string at 9, middle finger, ring finger. And I'm going to take that shape that I'm in at 8 and 9, move up to 10 and 11, and eventually up to 12 and 13. So we hear that sound. So basically you're hearing C major, D major, and then E major, and that's where it's going from D. And then here, this is a little tricky, you have to do this with your index finger. I hit the low E string to make it sound like the E chord. But just so that I can strum it, I'll use my index finger to bar, or to mute the open A and D string so that you don't hear that. So that takes a little bit of practice. And then once I'm in that position, I'm just going to move that shape over one more time. I'm going to use, so that's at 14, 13, and then 12 with the index finger on the high E string. And then I'm going to use this little A minor shape, so I'm going to hit the open A string. And I do this down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. That's the strumming part. So I do one strum first, open note, one strum, down, up, and then the pinky comes down at the 15th fret on the high E string. I do a similar thing here, so we play the G, this is the A string 10th fret, ring finger pinky, play the 12th fret on the G and B strings, and this is a bit of a stretch, kind of awkward, the middle finger goes to the high E string 10th fret. And then the pinky has to move over 1 fret to 13. And then back. Same strumming though as the first one. And then I'm sliding into F sharp, which is the A string 9th fret. And I'm going to play the G string 9 with the middle finger, B string 10 with the pinky finger. And then I move the index finger down to F, which is the A string 8th fret. And play this little string skipping riff. So that's index finger at the 8th fret on the A string, ring finger on the 10th fret of the D string, pinky on the 10th fret of the B string. Then we go down to D9 and B8, and then 7 and 6 on the D and B. You can see it's just this kind of diatonic descending part, ending at 5 and 5 on the D and B strings. I play that hybrid. Then we slide back into the A root for that beginning of the progression again. And then what do I do here? Probably something like that. So once we finish that, so I'm going to use probably a lot of just pentatonic, these kinds of things, Hendrix like pull-offs and stuff that are comfortable for me to do underneath that A minor chord with a thumb. Down to G, same thing as before. D, same as before. And then I'm going to slide this shape that I end up on the D chord. So we have the D major, and the caged sort of G version of D major, which looks like that. Then I'm going to slide that. When I go to the E chord, I'm going to use the open E string. Then I use the middle finger to play the D string at the 10th fret. So that's the D. Back to the A minor again. So, and all of this goes with a lot of, you have to be counting that 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and that needs to be really solid in your mind while you're doing all of this stuff, where that count is and how much time you have on each chord to play your licks and phrases before you need to move on to the next chord. So that takes a lot of practice for sure with all of this. So then the last part of the solo, after that part, I play the root note, and then I do this pretty kind of standard pentatonic lick. Something like that. And then something like that where I go to the G, sliding in to the A string 5 to 7. I think that's the last note. I slide up to the E there on the G string 9th fret. And then here, this is a tricky lick for sure. So that's the F sharp with the thumb, reaching over the high E string with the pinky, pulling off to the open E string, landing on the B string at the 3rd fret, and then I'm going to do the same thing on the high E string, 3-0, pull off, and then landing on the B string 3rd fret again. 1st fret, pull off, same thing on the high E string, and again back to the 3rd fret B string, followed by the open E string, landing on the 1st fret, B string, index finger, resolving to the G string 2nd fret, middle finger. Oops. Then the F with the thumb, the 1st fret, and then the hammering with the middle finger to the G string 2nd fret from open. 1st finger is still here at the B string 1st fret. And then I'm going to take that shape, slide it up to the 3rd and 4th frets. So it's like a little double stop. Hear that shape? And then I'll do a slide, quick slide back and forth. And then resolving back. Whoops. And then another couple easier leads there with the A minor. And then now I'm trying to lead back into the B section again with the vocal. So I'm going to go C this time. Same kind of A major shape. I'm going to be moving over to the G major shape of the caged. So that's the C major, Hendrix kind of lick there, and then I slide up, G string, B string, G string 7, B string 6. And then I move that over, so I'm at 9 and 8 on the G and B. And then I'm going to play my pinky, use my pinky to play the B string 9th fret. Now we have like an E major triad here. And then I move that down, so it's like E, D, D, C, C, or 9, 7, and 5 on the G string, using the pinky to stay where it is, and the high E string is ringing open as well. So that's the whole solo. And then, yeah, we're back to the B section, and then back to the intro. Again, nothing really changes, or not back to the intro, but back to the verse after that. And And then I think we have just the final solo. I think I do this. This is another kind of rip-off from the Jeff Healey version. He uses that lick. So sliding up to the 9th fret on the G string with the middle finger, 8th fret on the B string, back to the 9th fret G, and then the 10th fret B with the ring finger. G, same lick, so we play the G chord, play the same lick as previous, and then I play the same lick, but on the, so it's the same notes, but down here, B string, E string, so the B string 5th fret, E string 3rd fret. And then I go up to this note, which is the B, high E string 7th fret. This is a really difficult chord to land in. I don't even think I did it very clean in the video. So that's the pinky going to the F, which is the A string, 8th fret. First finger has to bar the 5th fret, D, G, and B strings. And then I think I remove the ring finger off the high E string. So you hear that melody. And then I think after that, do I do the... Yeah, I think I do that, which is very similar to what happened in the main solo. So A minor, pentatonic, more double stops, or Hendrix-like licks like that, to G. Same thing, D. Same thing, this A shape of the D, to the G shape of the D. Sliding up with that little minor, or sorry, major shape, C major, D major, E major. Then back to the intro. This outro is after we do the A minor, slowing down to the G. Same thing as the intro. B string pulls off the index finger. G string pulls off the 2nd fret with the middle finger. D chord, we do the sus4, pull off with the pinky. And then when we go to E major, this is where we start the descending outro. I'm just trying to hear this E, D, C, B, A, G sharp, A, da 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 da. Very kind of classical outro. I'm doing this hybrid. So that means I'm using the ring finger to pluck the high E string along with the pick, which is plucking that bass note. So you can see how I'm reaching in there. So it's E, D, C, B, A, G sharp. And then we play the last A minor chord. So that's a hammer on with the index finger right there before the high E. Back to the, I reach the pinky over to the G string, 4th fret. Try to keep everything ringing, and then one final strum, including the low E string on the last A minor chord. That's it. Whew, so that's it. So that's the whole arrangement-ish for While My Guitar Gently Weeps. Like I said, it's very difficult. Like, it's a pretty simple part for the A and B sections. I think for most people to learn, the solo section will definitely be challenging to work all of that out with the double stops and just the shapes that are changing while keeping the bass line going and the chord progression going. But yeah, try it, follow along, and see if you can get some of that happening, and yeah, enjoy yourself. It's a great song to explore for sure. There's so many cool changes in there. So yeah, I hope you enjoy, and good luck, and I'll see you next time for another tutorial soon. Cheers.